Hello everyone and welcome to our WAFL live stream of the WAFL Eagles taking on Claremont from the home of football now, Optus Stadium. And as you can see, a picture perfect day, morning so far, just ticking up 25 past 11. Claremont are 4th, West Coast are 8th, and they've played already this year. In fact, just under a month ago, they played at Claremont Oval and the Eagles got up by less than a goal. On that occasion, it was a tight struggle, 4 goals in the last quarter and a 7-goal first quarter for West Coast. But since then, well, the fortunes have changed somewhat. No Brayshaw or Waterman, and they starred in that contest back in round 4. And the likes of Mitchell, Bolton, Mountford and Murphy got plenty of it for the Claremont Tigers. Chris Marston has Brendan Archie. Chris Marston is a big inclusion for the West Coast Eagles WAFL team. And of course, he returns after injury. Steve Bandy will be calling all the action. Dana Hooker will be boundary side. We'll check in with Dana very, very shortly. But as a welcome thumper, Bandy, there is Chris Marston, and he'll be a welcome addition. He'd appreciate the run here. He's still pushing for selection in the league team.
Good afternoon, everyone listening. Tim Gossage, Dana on the boundary. Yeah, not every day you get to slide a 205-game Premiership Eagle into the side. It's, of course, been almost a month now since Chris Marston took the field at AFL level, so a bit of leadership, bit of poise out there on the field. They're going to need it today, Tim, because Claremont's certainly in good form.
Part of our WAFL live stream, thanks to Hungry Jacks, and we call all the West Coast Eagles WAFL games so far. We're chasing our first win of the year since being on board. Got a good feeling about today, although Claremont are in a bit of form. Well, there's an interesting change in the West Coast Eagles lineup, and it's not the players, it's the coaching staff. Luke Webster, well, he's certainly changed his role today. He's becoming a midfield coach. And Adrian Hickmont is taken over the reins. Just for the day, a bit of role-playing, role-switching. There is Luke Webster. And Dana Hooker has gone downstairs and has caught up with Adrian Hickmont before the bounce.
Being an inaugural side into the competition this year, there must be some challenges that come with that, and obviously establishing your brand of football into the team. What are you looking to see from the boys, and what will be the main focus for today's game?
Yeah, there's challenges everywhere. No, you're right. We've got some WAFL top-up players that we train at night times, so our coaches stay behind and we teach the guys our style of play, how we want to play, and then aligning the guys on today. So that's a good challenge, but it's the guys are very open-minded and everyone gels really well. Today we're after. We just want to be competitive. We need to be good in the contest, strong in the contest, and we wouldn't mind seeing a bit of ball movement that we've been practicing throughout the year.
You must be pleased with the efforts of the boys so far this season, particularly last week. Despite not getting the win, they really challenged Swans, and you were a couple of injuries down. You had 2 debutants for the side that week, but they really challenged and looked quite good, showed some really positive signs. Does that bring you some confidence leading into today's game?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a good game. It was a good game. I unfortunately was over east, but watching it on tape and listening to the reviews, it was exciting. The guys showed real resilience and played for 4 quarters and 2 down. So yeah, we were really happy with their performance on the weekend, and they've been training well, and we hope to bring it in today.
Well, Adrian, thanks very much for the insights and all the best for today's game.
Good on you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dana, and thanks to Adrian Hickmont. So a bit of a role change there today. He's in the coaching position, and Luke Webster is taking over a role, of course. Thanks to Hungry Jacks. Let's take a look at the ladder. 8th West Coast, 2-5 after 7 games. Claremont are 4-3, and at the moment in the top 4. And all other games being played today will give you those scores. Of course, you'll see those online because we've got the early one, the 11:30 opening bounce. Glorious conditions, and Brady Gray having the last couple of words because there is no Fraser McInnes, which is a big blow. Matty Truck-Allen is going to be a key player as well. Fraser McInnes has withdrawn.
Now, a big blow, that one. Obviously kicked a couple of goals the last time these two sides met in that nail-biting contest back in round 4. He's the captain. He's the inspirational leader. Provides a bit of poise. Played in defence last week, Tim, so no doubt can be thrown ruck, back, forward. So versatile, and he'll be missed. Jackson Nelson returning, obviously, after his 1-game stint at AFL level. Lewis Jetta entering the fray and kicking him back down to this level, but a welcome addition nonetheless.
Now, wherever you're watching this, Facebook or YouTube, but on the Facebook in particular around the world, let us know. We'll try and tap in on you at various stages. We've had plenty of overseas viewers who love to see their WAFL Eagles in action. So teams are going into position. This is round 8 fixture. It is 4th place Claremont versus 8th placed West Coast. Kane Mitchell, of course, Sandover medalist, Port Adelaide, has played plenty of AFL football, and he's went overseas as well for some time. A bit of push and shove. He doesn't mind getting under the skin of the opposition. Our umpires today are Snadden, Jago and Titterton, and your caller of all the ball-by-ball action is Steve Bandy, and boundary side will be Dana Hooker. We're underway thanks to Hungry Jack's Waffle Eagles.
Here it is, round 8, ladies and gentlemen. Exciting times. Optus Stadium, the venue. Such a rarity for these Waffle boys. Sure, they'll be relishing every minute. It's going to be Goddard and Bailey Williams with the leap in the first centre bounce. Williams following up nicely, but the umpires paid a free kick, going the Tigers' way early going. It's going to be Bolton sending it out wide to Beck. Drops the simple chest mark, but has a ton of time. Short little ball finds Hardesty. In fact, it's Smallwood, young Tyrone Smallwood. He's going to just pop it inside the 50, tracking back. Good take there from the Eagle in Foley. Wants to move it quickly. This is Smith in his defensive goal square. Such an elite runner is Josh Smith, former of the Collingwood Football Club. Little leap there from Archie, who was the target. The big fella in Goddard couldn't bend over and pick it up. Ball travels out of bounds.
Just judging by the way Ryan Lim worked that mark on that kick back in from Smith there on the goal square line, clearly Claremont look like they're trying to get up in the face of West Coast. No easy entries and no easy switches.
It's going to be Eastland taking the ruck against Bailey Williams. Eastland front position. Finds Mitchell at the foot of the ball. Mountford just bangs it forward. Dangerous area. Couple fly. Tracy stays down. He's collected by Nelson. Just gets a little scrubby kick away to the pocket. The race is on. Rotham's first on the scene, but he's escorted over the line.
Yes, so there's the Claremont bench, of course, and that Claremont bench being made up of McGee, Oakley, CJ Oakley, Bennett and Tom Ledger.
Dangerous areas here for the West Coast Eagles. Early going at Optus Stadium.
Oh, bad throw-in.
Umpires set a little bit short. Mitchell, the recipient, little left foot snap is offline. Marston escorts it over. Fantastic conditions here, Tim, as not going to be too many excuses for missed targets today.
No wind whatsoever. Does swirl it down around at ground level, but no problems at the moment.
Couldn't put the Pumas on to have a kick beforehand, so I'll take your word for it. Umpire sets it in. Eastland wins on this occasion. Quick snap out, and there it is. Bradshaw on the opening shot of goal, but he's hooked it too far. Bit of a let-off there for the West Coast Eagles as Claremont hit the scoreboard first.
Yeah, well, that's what he's good at. He's a fine
kicking
player.
Points.
Well, he's fine at getting quick hands and the ball to boot. Tom Lee and Ian Richardson back in, of course, for Claremont. Two welcome additions.
Yeah, a couple of very handy ends as Mutimer goes bang, sends it with his raking left foot ball out to almost the wing. Bailey Williams fumbles it. Mountford collects for Claremont. Little handball to Lim. Back to Mountford. Little grubby snap kick forward to the pocket. Rotham, good fist. He's going to have his work cut out for him today. Josh Rotham against Tom Lee. This occasion he wins out.
Mountford already had 3 or 4 disposals. He had 30 back in round 4. He's a very good player.
Of course, pick number 60 in the 2015 draft is Declan Mountford. To the Kangaroos.
There's the Eagles bench. O'Neill, Fisher, Hugg and Rebillard.
Mutimer wraps up Smallwood. Umpire will restart things yet again. North Albany boy is young Declan Mountford. So back in WA, good to see for the state. Bailey Williams got a good leap on him, the young kid. Ball in dispute. Smith there providing pressure. Back to Williams, to Brady Gray. Just slams it on the boot. Ashman provides a contest. Rogers just hacks it forward for Claremont. Big ball, and in the end, Tracy leads out, takes it on the chest in front of Jackson Nelson. Distance tests him, lowers the eyes, ball spills to the back. Big ball here, West Coast with numbers. Little handball to Marston. Wants to give to the outside, and a beautiful disposal finds Brander on the lead. Yeah, they've got plenty of players back behind the ball, West Coast, but they should be. They cannot get out of their back half. Claremont doing a good job early. Just thumps it down the wing. Cameron out of position. Ball spills at the back. Keegan Brooksby. It'll be hard to chase this one up. Rogers searches for a target. That's an exquisite kick and finds Mountford on the broadcast side wing. Just be possession 4. Wants to go inboard, has a target. It's Jai Bolton. Get used to that. Doesn't mind having the footy in his hands. The beautiful switch back into the corridor. And all of a sudden, Claremont changing the avenue of attack. This is Lim running onto the loose footy. Looks inside 50, sends it to the pocket, working from behind. Good spoil there, but it's on for Claremont. West Coast need to take care of it. Marston's well collected there from Tracy. Great tackle. Pressure hot early. And the ball is living inside this Claremont forward 50.
Yeah, unlucky not to get a free there, Marston. May have got the right arm over the shoulder there, but he dived on the footy as we watched the replay, thanks to Hungry Jacks. Yeah, there's no doubt that should have been a free kick to Marston.
Williams, interesting soccer there from Jackson Nelson. Travel to meter. Kane Mitchell, snap round the corner. It's off target again for Claremont. Ball still in play. Was that out on the full? Umpire didn't have the stones to call that one, Tim, just to throw in.
Yeah, he says it was off the thigh. There's no doubt it was below the knee. That's very unlucky for Claremont. Tom Lee was trying to argue his case. Here's the replay. Have a look at this. He reckons it came off. Look, it's come straight off the boot.
Hey, we'll take it, Tim. They don't see this replay.
Terrible boundary umpiring decision.
Bailey Williams takes care of Eastland, taps it forward, but Mitchell sharks it. Handball inside. This is Lim. Terrific smother there from Axel Foley from the West Coast Eagles, and West Coast just a clearing ball. Nick Reed's got 2 to beat. In the end, McGee steadies up for Claremont, goes backwards to Hamp. He sees Lim on the outer side. He wants to play on. Number in the middle, it's Rogers. And a ton of ball early here, Claremont. Splits the target, finds Martinez. Wants to move it quickly. Kicks to full forward, and Tommy Lee, steaming out of full forward, takes an easy, uncontested chest mark.
Yeah, back in the lineup, had a couple of problems. Last week he missed with an ankle, but his shoulders have been kept together by elastoplast. There's no doubt about that. But Tommy Lee, 17 games in 3 years with St Kilda, and was the club's leading goal kicker here at Claremont last year and in 2012 as well. Adds a lot of experience. He's a fantastic bloke. He's a leader around the football club on and off the field.
Certainly can get a hold of you. Can Tom Lee, if you give him a sniff early. A chance for his first. He's hooked it a tad, and the umpire agrees. Through for a minor score.
Yeah, it's unlike Tom Lee. He normally makes most of his opportunities. Of course, was also on the Adelaide Crows list as well.
A bit rusty, do you think, Tim?
Well, he shouldn't be. I mean, he hasn't been out for all that long. He's better than that. But for a lot of these players, for Claremont, first time they've even set foot on this ground. They did try to get a training run here. I don't think they got the call back from Optus.
Terrific kick there from Marston, finds Archie on a lead. And here you go, West Coast through the middle of the ground. Smith puts it inside forward 50. The chase is on. Rebillard versus Lucy. Lucy goes to ground, but finds McGee in support. Oh, gee, that's a bit of a scrubber kick. Going to work for Mountford. He brushes the tackler aside. Bit of poise. Handballs at Ledger's feet. He's got a bit of time himself. Handball to Mitchell. And a little give to Mountford. Good pressure there from Josh Smith. And a win for West Coast, sending it over the boundary line.
Well, Mountford's had, I think, 5 or 6 disposals in the opening 7 minutes of play. He's on track to get 60. So if I was West Coast, I'd be keeping an eye on him through the midfield.
Well, Hamish Brayshaw has usually played the role of run with midfielder. He's not out there today, so I wonder if West Coast will opt for some kind of defensive matchup. Mitchell just snaps it around the corner blindly. Good contest there from Oakley. Make Claremont receive it again. Scrappy kick forward, high bounce for Tracy. Geez, he's handled it well. The kick toward a vacant goal square, but it's off target. Claremont peppering early, but can't make the most of these opportunities.
Yeah, he's had the hops too. He went good vertical lead. Here's the replay here, courtesy of Hungry Jacks. He got almost a nudge underneath it, but he had more time because Lee got in the way there, which was very good football. Got in the way of Rotham and really should have run on goal.
Speaking of which, Josh Rotham, just a low spearing pass over Brander's head. Rebillard's going to be first to it. Good one-hand collect. Back to Foley, but the umpire of the boundary variety says that was out of play.
No West Coast Eagles had more than 2 disposals for Claremont. Limbs had 4, Mountford 5 and Mitchell 5.
Gee, that's a shocking result, that one, Tim. Just can't get your hands on the footy early going.
No.
Brooksby been sent into the ruck against Goddard. Archie been in fantastic form in this Eagles midfield, escorts it over. Imperative that West Coast start to produce a bit of attack of their own shortly.
Kay Weston's watching from Albany. Come on, Mountford, she said.
Yeah, I don't know why you're reading those ones out.
Fair. We've got to be fair. Got to be fair.
Who says?
Yeah, true.
Archie sees the ball over yet again. Just the 8 West Coast Eagles games thus far in his 2 seasons since making the switch from Port Adelaide.
Tom Holder is watching from Umuwa, wherever that is.
Sounds made up, if I'm honest. Goddard finds Mountford, as you would.
I'll do a Google search.
Through traffic, Bolton sends a high ball inside 50 over Tommy Lee's head. Good spoil there from Rotham. Bit of a turn from Bradshaw. He's collected, and the umpire says holding the footy. Yep. Good tackling there from West Coast, stifling the attack.
Yeah, good decision too. It was a really good tackle. Well done. Under enormous pressure, this backline. Josh Rotham, well played. They swing the ball wide, and it's cleared Archie's head and gone over the line and out of play. So at the moment, they're doing all the attacking. Just one forward 50 so far for the West Coast Eagles. Claremont still not getting true reward for their efforts. They're just the 3 behind. They've had a couple of real opportunities.
Brooksby loses front position. Geez, that's well taken in the stoppage there from Bolton. The kick was off target. Nelson collects, but his switch is in dangerous areas. Big ball for Hug. Rogers is first to it. Going to wheel around on the right. Geez, good defensive smother there. McGee can't take it for Claremont. Eagles have got the numbers if they can release. Curnow, he's claimed. He's trying to get it to them. Marston receives. Quick kick forward. This is Nick Reed. Tough bouncing ball. Martinez receives. Anton Hamp. Oh, the kick is a little off the mark, but they're able to mop up. They do have a bit of support. This is Beck on his left boot, searching for the ruckman. Needs a kind bounce, got it. Left foot kicks an absolute scrubber inside forward 50. Well collected there, and a terrific goal from Tyrone Smallwood, and Claremont make the most of this one going forward.
It was a terrible kick from Goddard. Kicking and disposal-wise, not his strength, but he's a big-bodied boy, and he kicked an ugly ball inside. They deserve that, to be brutally honest. They have really worked extremely hard in the opening 11 minutes of play. So, yeah, good reward for Smallwood on the he's of course his brother is also in the team, and a bit of a mix and match. Dylan stands 195 centimetres and Tyrone stands just the lazy 179. Umawa is an Aboriginal community in the lands of South Australia, serving as an administrative centre for the 6 main communities on the lands as well as outlying communities. So it does exist. And well done to our man who's got in touch with us on the Facebook.
And you said that there's 2 brothers out there for Claremont, and they're, what are they, 20 centimetres apart?
Yeah, mum's small and dad's a giant, apparently.
Gee, that's some stiff breeding to cop the small jeans on that one, I would have thought. But he's playing some good footy and registers the first for Claremont.
He's kicked the goal.
Yeah, correct. Brooksby wins out, uncontested hit out. Cameron in the CBD, love to see that. What a fake there from O'Neill. Beautiful stuff. Sends it inside forward 50, bit of a spiral. Going over the back, but they're going to pay a push. And that's going against Joel Ashman for the West Coast Eagles.
Ryan Latham watching from Melbourne. Calm the Eagles. Good on you, Ryan. Yes, the Eagles in action, of course, against the Bulldogs later.
Eastland can't take the simple mark. Little grubber kick. Oh, O'Neill slips with absolutely no one around. Little tap in the grey direction on hands and knees. Hutt providing some defensive pressure. Little kick forward from Brady Gray. Needs the Tim make off break. Doesn't get it. And it's escorted over for West Coast's first score of the morning.
Yeah.
Is it morning?
It's still morning. It's still morning. It's 11:43 here in Perth at the 12-minute mark, so they finally get on the board. Anton Hamp brings it in quickly. That should be 50 metres. Absolutely. You can't be doing that.
Tim Gossage calling it from the bird's eye view, but correct on this occasion.
He's got to get out of it. He's got to get out of it, O'Neill.
Bit sloppy there, Jai Bolton. No one on the mark, even directing traffic like Babe Ruth a little bit, calling his shot, goes inside forward 50. Claremont players spill it amongst themselves. Smallwood, little blind handball out. Rotham needs to collect, but a poise required here from West Coast. Fisher just bangs it out on the left boot. Oh, Gray stood his ground, couldn't take it. Wants to get Mitchell off this footy. West Coast through Nelson, just hacks it on the left boot. Salamone had 2 to beat, almost impossible, and a good take from Hardesty.
The classical pianist.
Lowers the eyes, Matty Allen, the truck, tracks back and intercepts very cleanly. Would you say he's a classical pianist?
He certainly is. Bit of news on him. Declan Hardesty, Scotch College boy. His dad's full-blown Canadian who will be watching from the, I think, Fraser Island or somewhere up there at the moment.
That's an interesting decision. So that's contact below the knees going against Chris Marston. Spilt one going back with the flight. Bit of a difficult one, but tough rule that one. He was first to the ball.
There's a replay.
Touched the ball almost first, but by the letter of the law, that is correct.
Yeah, it's the tough part of that law. If you get your hands on the ball, you should be rewarded for actually bending over to get it.
Bolton sends it to full forward. Eagles with numbers. Spoil, very high in the air. Curnow has to hold his ground. Good tackle there from Smallwood. And we'll see another stoppage inside Claremont's forward 50.
Back to the classical pianist. So his dad's a Canadian who does some work on the Great Barrier Reef. He's there now. He'd be watching on the Facebook. And he grew up a long time in Malta, did the boy, and he played in league football for Claremont.
Bit of tunnel ball. Oh, I think Marston snapped it into someone's head. Maybe an improvement upon appearance. I'll let you know. Beck must have gone out of bounds there. Surely nothing doing. Kick to full forward. Tracking back. What an absolute ripping grab there from Foley.
Great mark, Axel.
Whoa! Came from nowhere on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll take that from the first-year Eagle.
They've steadied West Coast. They've been under siege for 15 minutes, but they're starting to get their hands on the ball and look a little cleaner now. Look like they've organised themselves behind the footy.
Claremont not really allowing a switch behind play, so just sending it long down the line. The only option, Spoil sends it out of bounds.
But everyone listening and watching, Johnny Ditchburn, of course, from the Peel Thunder Football Club. Matt Smith's watching our feed from Singapore. And Mitch Cleary, well-known AFL journo, is watching from Melbourne. I think they're keeping an eye on a couple of players, including that one right there, Brendan Archie, and also Jared Cameron, who kicked 4 last week.
Loved every bit of that mark there from young Foley. Good to see it again on the replay. Pack forms on the far side wing here at Optus. And we'll have another ball up.
Looks like they've just organised themselves a little bit better as Tom Ledger's off the ground for Claremont, or trying to get on the ground for Claremont. And it just looked like they've just settled themselves down, West Coast, starting to find their right matchups.
Yeah, good work there from Mountford. Little back feed, did well standing his ground.
You don't sound convinced.
It's Rotham v Lee, good spoil. Fisher reads it well, just hacks it on the boot. Williams provided a contest.
Clever.
Brady Gray, rather. I like Bray, you might call him that from here on in. Smothered ball. Brander does well, had to play on. Little give in the Ashman direction, but a good spoil there and defensive follow-up from Lucy. Will have another throw in.
Yeah, and Brady Gray is the player that's leading from the front, of course. Wasn't picked up in the mid-season draft despite a bit of a push, but he's certainly a leader on and off the field for this West Coast Eagles waffle team.
Ashman returning to the Eagles side this week, of course. One of the Waffle Eagles coming in. It's Claremont again winning this through the stoppage. Lim just skies a high ball to centre half forward. Eastland in best position on the fourth grabs, put it down. West Coast need to swarm here. Brady Gray does so. Cameron, outstanding work. Check side pass to no one in particular. Reeds worked off it. And a terrific mark by ex-Eagle Anton Hamp. Has an option in board. It's dangerous. 2 Eagles there. Gray claims the mark. Bolton said, I don't think that was fair. Gee, Gray moved around him with ease. Sends it to full forward, but it's all Claremont. Misdirected pass. Easy take for Hamp.
Yeah, Hamp's unlucky not to have played on this venue before in the state team. He was one of the last cut. Unlucky.
Mitchell gives to Lucy in board. Short pass. Eastland's got no one with an iota of him. Must have had some flatulence because no Eagle wanted to get anywhere near his little bubble.
Interesting, his first thought was to go inboard when he could have actually got it and run. He could have made a good 15 or 20 metres free then.
Bolton's ball for Lim. Just whips the handball towards Kane Mitchell. Short little pass. Geez, it's on song. Finds Richardson. Distance the only factor here. He's going to have to strike it from outside of the painted 50. Realises that. Goes to centre half forward. McGee, he's well claimed. Good tackle there from Cameron. Martinez ducks and dives. What a left foot pass. Finds Bradshaw about 35 metres out. Little angle to speak of.
Clever work there, and they almost turned it over, did Claremont. But look at that from Martinez. Lowered the eyes, could have bombed away from deep. But, yeah, had a nice lead up in space, and they get a genuine chance here. And he's been proving hard to curb early doors here, Jack Bradshaw.
So Claremont in the early going here. Played 18 minutes at Optus Stadium. A chance for Jack Bradshaw to collect his first of the morning. Makes no mistake. And Claremont are rolling here at Optus Stadium.
They certainly are, and get that their 5 scoring shots to 1 as they get some words on the bench there. A quick hello to Craig Glancy, of course, long-time East Perth and Wembley coach who's watching, lives up north. And David Lee, or David Le. Can Tim Gossage stop calling it the Facebook? Well, it's a bit of just a line. It's like the YouTube.
That's what happens when you trust 70-year-olds to talk up social media, I guess.
Give us a break. You can get on the Twitter. You can get on the Facebook.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Jack Bradshaw still kicked
MySpace.
a goal in every game he's played this year for Claremont,
Yeah.
league or reserves.
Yeah.
For 2 years, that streak's going.
That's a good stat. Where'd you find that?
Some nuffy gave it to me before the start of play as we see the ball restart. Good to see Williams dominating in the hit-outs. Can West Coast capitalise in the clearance? Well collected from Ledger.
Pressure.
They are providing a fair bit of a good tackle there from Archie. Here's a chance for Cameron.
First touch.
Lowers the eyes, sends it inside 50. Keegan Brooksby watching a bit of Liverpool last night. Could almost claim that mark.
Absolutely you could have.
And Archie just buries a Claremont Tiger into the turf, and West Coast able to hold it up inside their
I
forward
want to
50.
see the replay. Here's Brooksby. Kicked it up.
Not 15?
That's a mark.
I'd pay it for the theatre. Gee, uncontested hit out there from Goddard.
Why is that not a mark?
But it's all Joel Ashman. Cameron's going to have to get creative. Puts it on the head of Hug. Not the bloke you want to put it on the head of, just quietly. But a free kick. That is untidy there from Rogers. And West Coast a chance to put through their first here at Optus.
Yeah, the boy from 2J, who always win, the 2J always win the 100-metre home straight sprint on 2J Picnic Cup Day. Every year. It's run by a whole range of local footballers from all around the leagues. And 2J always dish out the winner on their home track, and this boy's from that neck of the woods.
Kieran Hug played all but the first game in the Waffle League. He starts it right, doesn't come back. And West Coast really need to make the most of their opportunities because I think they're going to get less in this first quarter than the Tigers.
Yeah, well, we're into time on in this first quarter, and West Coast have barely been inside 50, so when they get those opportunities, they have to take them.
Oh, good leap there from Fisher. Takes a fantastic grab. Renowned for that. Gee, the kick forward's an absolute mung ball, and Kane Mitchell, easy pickings.
Yeah, he slipped over, unfortunately, for Fisher. He's a good player.
Oakley recognises he's got Beck loose on the wing. Claremont with the loose number over the top. It's Tommy Lee. Rotham needs to hold him up. He doesn't. Few options inside forward 50. He says, I don't want any of them. He's going to go for goal. Oh, he's got the break. What a bounce there from Tommy Lee. Gee, that's flattening if you're a West Coast supporter. But Claremont will kick their third here in the first.